I'm Sandy Oliver, and I'm going to be your instructor for this section of English 002. And this semester, we're going to do this in a 14-week sprint as opposed to the 16-week sprint that it is. And so you'll have a little less time, which means you need to spend a little more time during the week to get things done. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as we go along. So, again, I'm Sandy Oliver, and I'm happy to be your instructor. If you haven't printed or saved the syllabus to your device, you might want to have that done and have it to follow along. So if you need to pause me to do that, do that, and we'll get busy. Okay, you have a syllabus for the class. A couple of odd things about this class before I dive into that. English 002 is called Transition English, and its job is to get you ready for regular college level writing. Okay, and so we do that in a couple different ways. One is you have to work through 10 units in the class in order, and the way I have the class set up, you have to finish one unit before you can go on to the next. And so there's that part. The other part that's kind of weird about this class is that it's technically a self-paced class, so there aren't really any deadlines, which for some people is wonderful and freeing and happy, and this is the best thing that could ever be. For others of us, you have to make your own deadlines. And there's a place in the syllabus, and I'll mention that when we get there, that shows you what you should be doing and finishing each week so that you can finish the class. And so there is that piece. But our class is Transition English. Technically, it's 6 hours a week. That's when we're 16 weeks. And for this class, since we're 14 weeks, it's about 7 hours a week. And transition classes run under a different set of requirements than your regular classes do because they are transitional. And in order to finish the course, you need to pass each of the units with an 80% or better. And that includes the final draft of the paper for that particular one, writing assignment, essay, whatever you want to call it, and an assessment. And the assessment, you take most of it is a subjective test. There are usually a couple of places where they ask you to do something in writing. Crazy because we're a writing course, and I have to look at it, and so you won't get a grade right away on the assessment, but I'll get there, and I'll talk about that in a little bit too. So page 1 of your syllabus. My name is Sandy Oliver. I am an adjunct instructor at Robeson, and so I don't have a spot on campus. So I don't have campus office hours or anything like that. My office hours are whenever I'm on my computer, whenever you want to ask me a question or whatever. All those things happen fairly short notice. Make sure that if you need something from me, that you understand I am one person and I am part-time, and I do the best I possibly can to get through everything that you've posted at least once a day. And that includes Saturdays, does not include Sundays. And again, we'll get to that in a minute. My email address is slightly different from student email addresses, so you can tell us apart. It's there on that first page, soliver@robeson.edu. You have my telephone number on there as well. Please text only. We can make arrangements for a phone call if things get desperate, but it's a writing course, so we should practice. Okay. Your best way to get a hold of me, though, is email. I do email every day. I check my Robeson email when I get online to do Robeson work, and that's usually between noon and 3. And I work on everything that you've given me all the things I have to do as far as administration kind of stuff for the class there, and then I move on to a different college. Okay, so this particular course is Foundation English course. There are a lot of little pieces for grammar and punctuation and the writing process and all of that as you go through the various units. That's what most of the assessment is for. Okay. The student learning outcomes, I'm not going to read all these things to you because you can read them. Um, but we want you to get used to the whole writing process and reading something to write something and to demonstrate your use of those strategies, especially in the drafting and revising sections, um, to get you to the end point, which is to write well-developed, unified, and coherent compositions that avoid plagiarism, to write grammatically correct texts, and to employ the use of conventional standard written English. So this is not academic English is not what anybody speaks. Some of us come from traditions, language traditions that are very different from standard written English, but you can always adapt. We call it code switching. Um, you don't have to change your whole manner of speaking. This is writing, and you have a chance to sit down and actually go through it and make it sound like it's supposed to. Okay. We don't have any textbooks. We do have what we call NROC software. It's an open educational resource. Everything we do is in there. Well, all the writing part we do is in there. The assessment part, which also comes from NROC, but their interface is beyond clunky. So we put it into our LMS and which is learning management system. Yeah, sorry. So the LMS that we use here is Moodle. And so we do a lot of things, we can do a lot of things differently than you can, say, in Desire to Learn or Blackboard or other fun things that are out there. But we can, your assessment part is in the actual class. And so you'll notice at the side of our Moodle page that it has general information, RCC cares, introduction, and welcome. And then it says Unit 1, Unit 2, 2, 3, 2. So when you look over at Unit 1, it says, right now it'll say 0/2, completed 0 of 2 things. And the 2 things are your NROC final draft grade and your assessment final draft, your assessment grade. You can't do anything about those. I have to manually grade and manually put those in. It's one of the few downsides to this management system, but be patient and it'll be there. Usually I post the grade first and then email you or let you know things. At the end of each of those units, when you've passed both parts with at least an 80%, I'll send you an email that says English 002, yay. With all the bells and whistles kind of stuff. And that's when you can go on to the next unit. I never hold on to things more than 2 days and that's from, if you do something late on Saturday, I probably won't get to it until Monday morning. And that's a whole other thing. There is a list of things that you should have in order to be super successful here. You need a computer with high-speed internet. There's a lot of videos, and the NROC stuff does tend to load a lot. So make sure that you're, not out in the boonies and working on other things. So yeah, make sure that you can log into OpenLMS and your Robeson email. Make sure you have some sort of college level dictionary. It can be an app, it can be a regular paper dictionary. Headphones or earbuds if you're going to be doing this in a public space, because we do talk to you a lot. So it's rude not to, plug in kind of thing. You should probably also have some sort of notebook or 3-ring binder and some writing sticks, just because it depends upon how you process things. I have to write things down or I don't have them. And once I write them down, I very rarely have to go back and look at them, but it's nice to know they're there. And so it's good to have a way to save things, um, and a way to keep things going. If you are like me and you're a kinesthetic learner, the writing part of this is very helpful to kind of cement things in your head. We don't do supplemental readings. Everything is right there in NROC, and in our Open LMS class. Um, it's all there. You don't have to worry about carrying a book or finding a book or whatever. You do have to worry about internet connection. Okay. The next piece on here is this first day complete opt-out information. We don't use that, but it has to be in my syllabus because it has to be in all the syllabi. So you don't have to worry about most of page 2 down to the bottom of page 3. And then, okay, our methods of obstruction. That's kind of a Freudian slip there. Methods of instruction. Again, it's a 6-hour six contact hour course. All the work is completed online. Online assignments count for about 7 contact hours each week. And you have to kind of keep up. Okay. In order to progress to English 110 or English 111 with the co-requisite course, you have to finish units 1 through 6 with at least an 80%. If you want to go on to English 111 without a companion course, then you need to finish all 10. And I base pretty much how I work, like midterm grades and things like that, on if you're going to finish all 10, here's your possibilities. Please, please, please don't get caught up in the highest grade possible kind of stuff. For us, you have to have at least an 80, but you have to finish the right number of units. If you have 100% in the course because you've finished units 1 through 3 with 100% in both, you're still not going to pass the class because you have to have at least 6 units in order to get a passing grade. Okay. There is no final exam for this course. All work has to be posted no later than 11:50 p.m. on Monday, May 12th, which sounds like a long way away, but it's not. Okay, so if you decide to withdraw from this class anytime between now and May 1st, you'll get a W. Okay. If I have to drop you because you've missed too many days, and by too many days, it means a week without turning in any gradable work, get you an absence. You get that third absence, which means 3 weeks you haven't done any work. They don't have to be consecutive. Keep track of your absences, and there is a click in self-service for you to look at that. But I can drop you for missing too many days. Regular class attendance is kind of funny with an online class because you don't see me, I don't see you, but you have to do work in the class every week. And what that means in this online class is making sure you post at least 1 gradable item every week. Okay, and there are 5 gradable pieces in each unit. Okay, so if you wanted to do a unit a week, you could do that. You have what we call the growth mindset activity is the first thing, and that'll unlock the rest of that particular unit. And then you have the NROC writing, which is kind of a read and journal thing, and then you do the first gradable thing there is rough draft 1. I look at all your rough drafts. Okay. And then you have to wait for me to grade that, respond, feedback, that kind of stuff. And then there's a second draft, same deal. And then there's a final draft. That's where your grade for that particular writing section comes in. And then there's also the assessment. Um, a lot of folks can take them once and get what the grade they need. Sometimes you have to take it more than once, and that's okay. Please, please, please take it once and then be patient and let me grade it. You may not have to take it again. You won't know one way or the other because it doesn't let you have a score until I go in and mark those two. And it's usually just two in each assessment. So it doesn't take long. It's just I got to be there. Okay? So that's how you get attendance too. That's how you progress through the units. That's how you get attendance. And that's just how that works. I am on page 5 now. We have a couple other little things that you have to do. Before Wednesday, February 5th, you have to take, however you want to think about it, you have to take the required enrollment activity, REA, and it's in big letters at the top, and you can't get into any of the units until you take that. And then it'll let you see the various unit starts, but it still won't let you do anything until you do that unit 1 growth mindset activity. Do that first, and then that opens up the rest of the unit. Now, you have, like I said, you have to do the REA by Wednesday, February 5th. If you don't do that, even if you've been on and you've done other things, you'll get dropped. Okay, so do that first and then move on. I do have up there in that first set of things to do a student introduction forum, and I put my introduction up there, and you can put yours up there. It's helpful for the rest of us to know a little bit about who we're working with this semester. So that's what that's for. Okay, so once you're in, you've taken the REA, and ta-da! If you've been in the course before and you finished a unit or 2 or 5, that's what you should see as the last one open. Okay, I just put 80s in the grade book for the ones you've already finished, prior credit. Okay, and then you can go on from there. You don't have to start over. Yeah, that's how that works. My availability, like I said before, during the work week, email, online, phone messages will be answered within 24 hours. Yes and no. Okay. Yes. I answer my emails every day, at least once a day. And after that, when I'm finished with the day, I'll be back tomorrow, Monday through Saturday. And I don't count weeks the same way everybody else does. I don't give you a deadline of Sunday night for things. My week runs Monday to Thursday, as far as, dates and such. I don't want anybody to think they have to work on their holy day. And major religions in this country either have their holy day as Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Mine happens to be Sunday. I try really hard not to be online on Sundays for any purpose, and so I don't work on Sunday. Now, there are exceptions to that rule, but I try really hard to make sure that they don't happen very often. Everybody needs a break. Everybody needs a day to recharge. I know we don't always get that, but it's a good thing to plan for at least. Okay, so here's your thing, the progression. This is the big deal. So if you're working on, say you want to take English 110, so you have to complete the first 6 units. And here's a way on page 5 of getting there. Okay, so you have, you have time. Mostly 2 weeks per unit, mostly. And then if you want to work on tier 2, which is what I assume everybody wants to do, is completing, like I said, you can complete a unit a week. Excuse me, most of the time. The first 3 or 4, yes, definitely a week. Some of the ones that come after that, especially I think Unit 6 and then Unit 9 and Unit 10, you need a little extra time on those because they're asking you to read more. So that's kind of how that works. I start putting zeros in the grade book before we hit midterms. We have this Aviso checkpoint probably once a month. And the first one is way early for us. So, I'll do that and you'll get a little thing, but it's not that big of a deal. I think it's the 11th of February. And so it's right after our census date. And, we go on from there. Make sure that you're working in the class every week, preferably at least 3 days a week. I would like to see everybody finish the course. That would be lovely. And we're getting better at this. Now, there's a bunch of academic resources here. Upswing, it's an online tutorial service. The Academic Skills Center, English 002 has a dedicated tutor over there, and her name is Marie Jernigan. I think that's right. Anyway, her last name is Jernigan. And if you need her number and such, you can call or email the Academic Skills Center and sign up for tutoring if you need that. The library has a lot of services, especially wonderful for you, an open computer lab. So if your computer is on the fritz or maybe it's not fast enough, you can come to the college and work in the library, and they have everything. Bring your own earbuds. And then the help desk. The IT help desk is amazing here at Robeson. And if you have trouble getting into self-service or the open LMS or anything else, really, you can call them or email them and they will give you what you need. They're pretty good. Don't forget that academic dishonesty, academic integrity is very important. And don't cheat. Do your work with integrity. Academic dishonesty, and this is a big deal anywhere, is the giving, accepting, or presenting of information or material by a student with the intent of unethically or fraudulently benefiting oneself or another on any work which is to be considered for a grade of the completion of academic requirements. So basically, if you didn't do it, don't put your name on it. And that includes stuff with AI. Hear that. AI, unless your instructor gives you permission to use it in a particular way, is cheating. Okay? I don't ever allow AI. You need, especially in these introductory courses, you need to get this stuff cemented in your own brain. The computer already knows. So that's my opinion. There are a bunch of click-throughs if you go back to the online version of this. College policies, things like the honor code, attendance policy, all that kind of stuff. You have another link to that there. If you have learning disabilities that impact your work in the course, then you need to talk to Ms. Moore over in counseling and testing. She's in the student center. Her information is there, and you can get accommodations. Now, let me help you a little bit here. These accommodations will not show up anywhere on your Robeson transcript. There won't be a note that you had an IEP or whatever. Not like high school, it tells us that. College, not so much, okay? And we can't tell anybody that unless you give us permission. It's called FERPA. and no, I'm not going to go after that particular acronym, but it's the federal protection for your education records. Okay. So if you have something, say you need distraction free, you need extra time, you need somebody to take notes for you, you need things read to you, whatever the deal is. Now, I will tell you in our course, your tests are, I think the shortest time allowed is 2 hours. It's 20 questions. Most of them are multiple choice, true, false, fill in the blank kind of stuff. There are 2 open-ended questions that you have to write for. Sometimes that's an outline, sometimes that's a couple sentences, sometimes it's a paragraph. Just depends upon the piece. So that's why you get the 2 hours. Earlier, in the first couple of units, you get 5 hours and you can take it 5 times. So you have a lot of space there to kind of work on things. So let me know if you have questions on that one. Our non-discrimination statement, I haven't heard of any official changes. So the college operations have officially adopted a position of non-discrimination on the basis of race, color, sex, age, religion, disability, origin, or other non-relevant factors. And it's not that they're not relevant to you, they're not relevant to whether you should be in college or not. Okay, that's what that just means. If you have questions about that or you have problems with anything, ask. There's a P.O. box there and there's a phone number. Okay, now if you haven't done your Safe Colleges training, give yourself a few minutes and do that. That's down there at the bottom. There's a click for it as well. You can go in, do a little bit, come back out, go back in, do a little bit, come back out. Okay, but there's a certificate that's printed at the completion of each course. So that's how that works. Okay, so one more thing, and then I will let you go on this. We have, like I said, we have 14 weeks. We have 10 units. That sounds like plenty of time to get all that done. I have had people finish it in 8 weeks. I have had people only get through 1 unit for the whole semester. And a little bit of everything in between. This course is necessary. It's not hard. It is sometimes tedious, but it is very good to help you get on with your writing skills. If you say, I write like I talk, everybody does to start with. That's why we edit. That's why we revise. That's why we, put it before somebody else's eyes. One tip for all of this, read your work out loud. I write this down a lot. And reading our writing out loud is the best way to self-edit, because our brains, when we read it in our heads, our brains make up the difference. It says what we think it says. Okay. When we read it out loud, there's a little bit of a disconnect, and we get 2 different senses in it at once. So you're listening, but you're also reading, so you're looking at it. Read your work out loud. Now, those of you who have trouble, say with dyslexia or just auditory processing, you can have anything. I don't know about the test. I'll have to look at that. You can have just about anything in the course. Click the little microphone button, and it gives you an option to read to you, or you can dictate into the actual piece. Now, you can't always dictate. Well, you can probably always, but you shouldn't always. Some of this is you have to look at it and make sure that you've got the right word in the right spot. A lot of the NROC stuff does not check spelling for you. It doesn't check punctuation for you because you're learning this stuff and it wants you to practice. I want you to practice. So anyway, I hope this all goes well and we get some serious work done this semester, let me know if you have questions. You know how to get a hold of me. You have my email.